Women need more than affection. We need a person, our person, willing and able to hear and hold the voice inside of us, not just our words, but the voice beneath them, the cry of our pain, the sparkle of our joy, the ache of our hope, the weight of our regret, the truth of our identity. This is no small ask. Because when our voice is held, our submission pours like a gentle, persistent rain. And in that drenching, the womb of our being opens, ready, willing, sacred. Ready to build, willing to multiply the seeds he plants, sacred in what is reserved for him, his life, his seed, his heart, his legacy. But if our voice is met with resentment, defensiveness, or dismissal, it becomes dangerous. Not because of what we say, but because of what dies unspoken. In those silences, weeds grow. The seeds planted in dismissal become invasive. They choke out the native species of healing, balm, and fruit. One evil seed can multiply 1,000-fold. And while evil seeds are inevitable, the way we uproot them is with our voice, dissembling their atoms with words. Tears halt their germination. Confessions of grief to our person, our man, our head, disarms them. This is the headship we need. Not a combatant to our perspective, not a bulldozer of helpful suggestions or precise theology, but a witness, one who sees the whole of her, yes, even in the mess, one who can hold the spiral of her story without labeling it broken, because she is no more fractured than the crevices at the ocean floor, no more fragmented than the color shift from red to orange in a rainbow, no more broken than a womb that bleeds as it prepares to bring forth life. It is her design to hold both shadow and light in proportion to her purpose. Her contradiction is not dysfunction. It is the architecture of her essence. These moments, this design, are always pregnant with potential. Before her man, her beloved, she opens herself to life or death, blessing or cursing. Choose life, because the seeds you plant will grow and they will bear fruit after their kind. Seeding is sacred work. It cannot be tended flippantly or with levity. It requires sobriety, honesty, and steady presence. Like carrying the most fragile and precious thing, not just any hands are up to the task. When a woman opens her depths, she offers a holy place, a threshold. Her voice in those moments, they carry the potential, the spark of conception, or the trigger of demise, the breath of intimacy, or the gnashing of teeth in darkness. Selfishness drives her to death. It leads her to bitter waters and forces her beneath the tide, stripping her of the pearls of her submission, chafing the skin of her love. True conception requires humility. Submit one to another in love. But shame, insecurity, cherry-picked, ego-driven theology, these call in the darkness like a fog of sickness. What she needs is kingdom culture in the city of his heart, something that pours out not pridefully, but with a curious interest in the mystery of the womb of her being. We are like a jungle, a wild, untouched wilderness. The world has tried so hard to strip and mine us into dust. And we know this terrain well, because we are her. Every woman carries this wilderness of vast riches within. This is true even when our voices soften, even when it drifts into everyday conversation. Our words are still seeds from the garden of our being, drawn from the aquifers of the deep. Yeah, it's intense. But if our intensity is met with rigidity or rejection, we will wither. Not because we want to, but because this is the cost of being woman. How we are spoken to, how we are responded to, even how we are regarded in silence, it all plants seeds. It opens the gates of heaven or hell. We are not weaker for lack of strength. We are tender because of how deeply we are impacted. Our hearts, our wombs, and everything is planted there. Joy, trauma, blessing, curses. We carry it all. Guarding our hearts is the most difficult thing. It's so precious and prosperous. It is the task of womanhood. A man who fails to understand this, who refuses to practice headship until he learns it for his woman, abandons his post and leaves her exposed to the little foxes that spoil the vine. So, we learn to become keepers of our sacred ground with discernment, with forgiveness, with truth, with fire, with water, with wind, with stillness, and none of it is sustainable. This tension is untenable without communion with the Lord. He is the only one who never grows weary of our voice. He doesn't flinch at its force. He's the only one who listens not to fix, but to form. And if the day comes when the gulf between the Lord's welcome and our person's contempt yawns wide, when the Lord's embrace is like breath and our person's embrace feels like suffocation, we will know. We cannot remain in covenant with contradiction, nor share a bed with hypocrisy, because He gives life. And if our person brings death, we cannot live forever torn in two between blessing and curse, love and contempt. One must be vanquished forever. And in the end, after the begging, the bleeding, the explaining, after peeling off our own skin just to hold the union together, we will choose our keeper. We will call the four winds to gather what our person scattered, and to the locust to devour his evil seeds. We will summon the cherubim with flaming swords to stand at the threshold of our garden, because the tree of life must be guarded, and we are its garden.